I was not supposed to survive on that desert world. Humans were considered weak there. Useful, maybe. Curious, maybe. But never powerful. And definitely never worthy of standing beside 4 alien queens. But that morning, when the royal ship landed outside the settlement and 4 of the most feared women in the galaxy stepped onto the sand, they did not look at the soldiers. They did not look at the elders. They looked at me. And everything in that village went silent. My name is Elias Vale. 3 months before the queens arrived, I was nothing more than a stranded human mechanic on a forgotten border planet called Vera 9. It was the kind of place empires forgot until they needed something from it. A dry world of sand, stone huts, broken markets, and old machines that worked only because desperate people forced them to. The locals called it a trade settlement. I called it a graveyard with sunlight. Ships came in. Ships left. People vanished. Nobody asked too many questions. That was how you survived. I worked near the eastern landing bay, repairing cracked engine coils, water pumps, and old cargo haulers. I did not belong there, but I was useful. And on Vera 9, being useful was the closest thing to being safe. The aliens in the settlement were taller than me, faster than me, and stronger in ways I still did not understand. Most had pale skin, silver eyes, pointed ears, and a quiet way of watching humans like we were temporary things. I had heard it from them more than once. Humans do not last long here. They were almost right. Almost. The first time I saw the queens, I did not know they were queens. I was under a broken fuel line, arms covered in dust and oil, when the sky above the settlement began to tremble. Everyone froze. Not because ships were rare, but because this ship was different. It came down slowly, like it owned the world. A massive curved vessel, bronze and black, wide as a temple, casting a shadow over half the village. Sand whipped across the street. Children ran indoors. Merchants pulled their fabrics down. Guards straightened like their bones had turned to iron. Then the ramp opened. 2 armored soldiers stepped out first. Then 4 women appeared behind them. Tall, pale, silent. Their braided hair moved in the desert wind like silver rope. Their cream-colored robes looked simple, but every thread shimmered faintly under the sun. They carried no weapons. They did not need them. The whole settlement lowered its eyes. Except me. I did not know the rule. I just stood there, holding a cracked engine valve, staring like an idiot. One of the women turned her head. Then another. Then all 4 of them looked directly at me. The oldest merchant beside me hissed, "Human. Look down." But it was too late. The tallest queen had already started walking toward me. Every step she took made the crowd move back. Not quickly. Carefully. Like even breathing too loudly near her might be a crime. She stopped a few feet away and studied my face. Her eyes were pale blue, almost white, but there was nothing cold in them. There was curiosity, surprise, and something sharper underneath. "What is your name?" she asked. Her voice was calm, but every person in the street heard it. I swallowed. "Elias." A murmur moved through the crowd. The queen tilted her head. "You are human." "Yes." "You did not bow." "I did not know I was supposed to." Someone behind me gasped. One soldier stepped forward, his hand moving toward his weapon. But the queen lifted one finger. The soldier stopped. She looked at me for a long second. Then, to everyone's shock, she smiled. Not softly, not sweetly, like she had just found something the whole galaxy had missed. The second queen came closer. Her hair was pale gold, braided tightly over one shoulder. She circled me slowly, her eyes moving over my jacket, my hands, the scar near my eyebrow. "He does not smell afraid," she said. "I'm very afraid," I replied. That made the third queen laugh. It was not a loud laugh, but in that dead silent street, it felt like thunder. The fourth queen stepped beside me and looked at the valve in my hand. "You repair machines?" "When they let me." "And people?" I looked at her. "Sometimes people are harder." Her expression changed. For a moment, the royal mask disappeared, and I saw something tired behind her eyes. Something wounded. Then the tallest queen turned to the soldiers. "He comes with us." My blood went cold. "I'm sorry," I said. "What?" The merchant beside me backed away like he had never met me in his life. The queen faced me again. "You will answer questions." That sounds less like an invitation. It is not. And that was how I was taken aboard the royal ship. Not dragged. Not chained. But surrounded by 4 queens and 6 armed soldiers, which somehow felt worse. Inside the ship, everything was smooth metal, warm light, and quiet power. The halls curved like living bone. The air smelled like rain, which was strange on a planet where most people had never seen a storm. They brought me to a chamber with a glass wall overlooking the desert settlement. The 4 queens stood in a half-circle around me. I tried not to look nervous. I failed. The tallest one spoke first. "I am Queen Serelith." Then she gestured to the others. "Queen Mary's. Queen Viella. Queen Arana." 4 queens. Not princesses. Not nobles. Queens. My stomach dropped. I had been rude to 4 alien queens in the middle of a public street. Great. Serelith watched my face. "Now you understand." "I understand I should probably apologize." Mary smiled. Humans always apologize when they realize the blade is near their throat. "I'd rather apologize before it gets closer." Arana laughed again. Viella did not. She was the quietest of them, the one with the tired eyes. She stood slightly behind the others, her hands folded, studying me like I was a problem she had not solved yet. Serelith stepped closer. "Do you know why we came to Vera 9? "No. We came because our bloodline is dying." The room went still. Even the soldiers looked uncomfortable. Serelith continued. "Our people are old, powerful, proud, and slowly disappearing. Every alliance has failed. Every royal pairing has produced weakness, sickness, or betrayal." I stayed silent. Mary's moved beside me, her expression less playful now. "For generations, we searched for compatible strength. Not beauty, not wealth, not politics. Strength. And you came here?" I asked. "To a dust planet." Viella finally spoke. "No. We came because of you." The words hit me harder than a weapon. I looked from one queen to the other. "I'm a mechanic." "You are human," Viella said. "I'm aware." "No," she said. "You do not understand what that means." Arana stepped toward the glass wall and looked out at the settlement. Most species break when exposed to this planet's radiation for more than a month. Their organs fail. Their minds weaken. Their blood chemistry collapses. She turned back to me. "You have lived here for 3 months." I frowned. "I got headaches the first week." Mary stared at me. "Headaches? Bad ones?" Serelith exchanged a look with the others. That look worried me more than any weapon. Viella moved closer and reached for my hand. I pulled back slightly. She stopped immediately. Not offended. "Careful. May I?" I looked at her hand, then at the soldiers. "Do I actually have a choice?" "Yes," she said. That surprised me. So I gave her my hand. Her fingers were cold. She pressed 2 fingers against my wrist. A faint blue light moved from her skin to mine. The device on her bracelet pulsed once. Then twice. Then went bright white. Every queen froze. Mary's whispered something in her language. One soldier stepped back. Serelith's face changed completely. For the first time, she did not look like a queen. She looked shocked. "What?" I asked. Viella released my wrist slowly. "Your body is not resisting this world," she said. "It is adapting to it." I stared at her. "That sounds bad." "No," Serelith said. "That sounds impossible." For the next hour, they tested me. Blood, breath, reflexes, temperature, cell response. I hated every second of it. But I hated the way they looked at the results even more. Like I was not a person anymore. Like I was a door. And behind that door was something they desperately needed. When the tests ended, Serelith dismissed the soldiers. That scared me. Queens only dismiss guards when the next conversation is too important for witnesses. She stood in front of me. Elias Vale, your species carries an unusual trait. You endure. You recover. You bond quickly with hostile environments. You survive conditions that should destroy you. I crossed my arms. That's not royal bloodline material. That's just being too stubborn to die. Arana smiled. Exactly. Marys stepped closer. Do you understand what this means? I think it means I'm in trouble. Viella looked down. Serelith answered for her. It means every royal house in the galaxy would kill to possess what you are. I stopped breathing for a second. Outside the glass, the desert stretched under the burning sky. For the first time since I had arrived on Vera 9, the world looked safer than the room I was standing in. I said, I am not property. Serelith's eyes sharpened. No, you are not. Marys tilted her head. That is why this is complicated. Arana walked around me slowly. There are laws. Ancient ones. If a queen chooses a companion publicly, no house may claim him by force. I stared at her. Companion. Viella's face tightened. Protector. Political equal. Blood ally. The old translation is difficult. No, I think I understood the dangerous part. Serelith stood taller. The moment we looked at you in the street, others saw. Rumors are already spreading. By sunset, every commander on this planet will know a human drew the attention of 4 queens. My mouth went dry. And by tomorrow. By tomorrow, Serelith said, someone may try to take you. That was the first time I realized the queens had not captured me. They had hidden me in plain sight. But from who? The answer came before sunset. An alarm spread through the ship. Low, deep, violent. The queens turned at once. A soldier entered the chamber and bowed. Commander Threx has arrived from the Eastern Garrison. He demands the human be released into military custody. Serelith's expression went cold. There it is, Mary said softly. I looked between them. Who is Commander Threx? Viella answered. A man who believes humans should be studied in cages. I felt my hands curl into fists. The ship doors opened again, and this time the soldiers outside were not royal guards. They wore dark armor and carried weapons openly. Their commander entered with a smile that never reached his eyes. He was tall, even for their kind. Scarred silver skin. Black armor. A voice like metal dragged over stone. Your Majesties, he said, bowing just enough to insult them without being punished. Serelith did not move. You were not invited aboard my ship. I came for the human. He is under royal protection. Commander Threx looked at me, and I understood immediately. To him, I was not Elias. I was a thing wearing a jacket. A human cannot be under royal protection, he said. Humans are classified as lesser adaptive organisms. I stepped forward before I could stop myself. Say that again. The room went silent. Threx's smile widened. Lesser. Adaptive. Organism. One of the queens touched my arm. A warning. But I was already angry. Not loud angry. Human angry. The kind that gets quiet. I fix your engines, I said. Your water systems. Your landing gear. Your power grids. Half this settlement eats because machines I repaired still run. Threx's eyes narrowed. And yet you remain human. That's the nicest thing you've said. Mary's covered a smile. Threx moved one step closer. You should kneel. I looked at Serelith. Is that a law? No, she said. I turned back to him. Then no. The commander's hand shot out. Fast. Too fast for me to dodge. But not fast enough. I caught his wrist. I do not know why I did it. Instinct. Maybe. Fear. Maybe. Or maybe humans really are too stubborn to understand when they are outmatched. His armor servos whined as he tried to push me down. My boots slid half an inch. Then stopped. Threx blinked. The queens went still. The soldiers raised their weapons. I looked him in the eye and said, I said no. For one impossible second, nobody moved. Then Serelith's voice cut through the room. Commander, remove your hand from the chosen of 4 queens. Chosen. The word landed like a bomb. Threx slowly turned his head. What did you say? Serelith stepped beside me. Then Mary's. Then Arana. Then Viella. 4 queens standing with 1 human. 4 royal houses crossing a line nobody expected them to cross. Serelith lifted her chin. Elias Vale is under our protection. By ancient law, by public witness, and by royal choice. Mary's smiled beautifully, and any hand raised against him. Arana finished softly. Is a hand raised against us? Threx released my wrist. But his eyes promised this was not over. He bowed, lower this time. My apologies, your majesties. Then he looked at me. No human is worth a war. Viella's voice was quiet. Then do not start one. Threx left. But the air he left behind felt poisoned. After he was gone, I realized my hand was shaking. Viella saw it. She did not point it out. She just stood beside me and said, you should rest. I laughed once. Rest? I just became political bait for 4 queens. Mary's leaned closer. You also impressed us. Great. That will help when someone shoots me. Arana smiled. You joke when afraid. I joke when breathing. Serelith studied me carefully. You had no reason to stand against him. Yes, I did. What reason? I looked out at the settlement. The people outside were still working. Still pretending they had not seen royal soldiers and military officers nearly start a blood feud over 1 human mechanic. He called my species lesser, I said. I'm tired of hearing it. For once, none of them answered. That night, they did not let me leave the ship. They gave me a room larger than my entire workshop. I did not sleep. I sat near the window and watched the desert lights flicker below. Sometime after midnight, Viella came to the door. No guards. No crown. Just her, wearing a simple pale robe, her braided hair loose over one shoulder. I wanted to apologize, she said. For what? For making you visible. I leaned back against the wall. I was already visible. I'm the only human dumb enough to argue with royalty in the street. She almost smiled. Then the sadness returned. Our world is cruel to rare things. I'm not rare on Earth. No, she said, but Earth is far away. That silence sat between us. Then she said something I did not expect. When Serelith called you chosen, she protected you. But she also placed a target on your back. I figured. You should hate us for that. I looked at her. Do you want me to? No. Then don't decide for me. Viella studied my face for a long time. Then she nodded. Humans are strange. We get that a lot. She turned to leave, but stopped at the door. Elias. Yay. If tomorrow becomes dangerous, do not try to be brave. I smiled tiredly. That's usually when humans get started. By morning, the whole settlement knew. The human had been chosen. Not by one queen. By 4. People stared when I stepped off the royal ship. Some with fear. Some with hatred. Some with something that looked dangerously like hope. Because Threx had not just insulted me. He had reminded everyone what the Empire believed. That some lives were higher. Some lower. Some born to rule. Some born to be used. And now 4 queens had publicly broken that belief by standing beside a human. Serelith walked ahead of us through the sandy street. Mary's and Arana moved on either side. Viella stayed close to me. The villagers lowered their eyes as we passed. But one old woman did not. She stepped forward, trembling, holding a broken water filter. A guard moved to stop her. I raised my hand. It's okay. The old woman looked at me, then at the queens. Human, she whispered. Can you fix this? The guard looked horrified. But I took the filter. Same old cracked intake seal. Easy repair. I crouched in the sand, pulled a small tool from my jacket, and fixed it in less than a minute. The woman's eyes filled with tears. Water began dripping from the filter. Clean water. Around us, the crowd shifted. Whispers spread. Mary's watched me carefully. You did that without asking payment. She needed water. Arana looked around at the crowd. They will remember this. I fixed a filter. Viella whispered, no. You proved the chosen human still kneels in the sand for people no queen noticed. That was the moment everything changed. Not when the queens chose me. Not when I stood against Threx. It changed when the villagers saw I was still one of them. Still dirty. Still tired. Still human. And somehow, that made me more dangerous than any royal title. By midday, people began bringing broken things. A child's breathing device. A merchant's cooling unit. A cracked engine coil. Royal guards looked nervous as the crowd grew. The queens did not stop it. They watched. And I worked. Hands in dust. Sweat on my face. Queens standing behind me like guardians from an old myth. By sunset, half the settlement had gathered. Then the warning sirens began again. This time, not from the royal ship. From the eastern garrison. A military broadcast appeared across every public screen. Commander Threx's face filled the market wall. Citizens of Vera 9, he said. The human known as Elias Vale is to be considered an unstable biological asset. Any person assisting him will be charged with treason against imperial security. The crowd went dead silent. Threx looked directly into the camera. Your queens have been misled. Stand aside, and no one will be harmed. The screen cut out. For a moment, there was only wind. Then every person in the street slowly looked at me. I expected them to run. I expected them to step away. Some did. But the old woman with the water filter stood in front of me. Then the merchant. Then the child's father. Then others. One by one. Not soldiers. Not warriors. Just people with tired faces and dusty clothes standing between me and the road to the garrison. Seralith looked at them in disbelief. Mary's whispered, they are choosing him too. Viella turned to me. Her eyes were shining now. Not with tears. With realization. You are not a bloodline solution, she said. You are a spark. Then, far beyond the settlement gates, we heard engines. Military vehicles. Lots of them. Dust rose on the horizon. The villagers tensed. The queens stepped forward. I reached for the old work rifle hanging near my belt. It was not royal. It was not elegant. It barely fired straight. But it was mine. Seralith looked at me. You do not have to stand. I looked at the people behind me. The old woman. The child. The workers. The ones who had been told all their lives to look down. Then I looked at the 4 queens who had chosen a human and accidentally started something none of us could control. Yes, I said. I do. The first military vehicle appeared through the dust. Then the second. Then the third. And as the sun dropped behind the alien ship, Commander Threx's army rolled toward the settlement. For one human. For 4 queens. For a secret buried inside human blood that the galaxy was only beginning to fear. I tightened my grip on the rifle. Viella stepped beside me. Seralith raised her hand. The royal guards formed a line. And for the first time in the history of Vera 9, the lowest people in the Empire did not bow. They stood. And the galaxy was about to learn why choosing one human was the most dangerous decision 4 alien queens had ever made.